In Los Angeles, an Asian mother sees her daughter hanging upside down, muttering demonic jokes. Word got around quickly, and neighbors came together to help look for assistance, leading them to the famous exorcist Constantine. Constantine waltzed into the girl's room, confidently placing a half-smoked cigarette on the table, yanked the curtains open, and let God's spotlight shine in to give the demon a little trouble. He began selecting his exorcism tools when a menacing shadow blanketed the girl. Constantine thought, "Oh, this must be my secret weapon against demons." This magic item is the badge of 7 saints, symbolizing 7 saints' superpowers, featuring Virgin Mary crushing a snake, radiating light to chase away all. She leaned over the girl, warning the demon, but it just mocked John's family, prompting him to respond with a snicker that screamed not impressed. He slapped the badge on the girl's forehead, provoking a tortured scream and beads of sweat to pop up. John kept her pinned down, unfazed, until her struggle ceased before finally lifting the badge. Just when he thought it was a wrap, John quickly sensed something was off. As the strange sensations didn't fade, he leaned down for a closer look. At that moment, faced with the formidable foe, John decided to get serious and called in a tall, shiny mirror for reinforcements. He moved the girl to the window, broke the glass, hung the mirror, telling everyone to keep their eyes shut. He covered her eyes and chanted. A curious uncle peeked. Just that one peek, and the demon sucked the old man's life force, immediately turning on John. The demon clutched John by the neck, but John grit his teeth and finished the chant. As the spell ended, the demon got sucked into the mirror, which seemed to say, "Come on, demon, show me your serious side." John snatched a rope and with all his might held the mirror out. Once the demon dissipated, the girl regained her senses as if waking from a bad dream. John didn't take up exorcism for the cash. He simply wanted to avoid being sent to hell after death. As a kid, he could see demons, leading his family to label him. As supernatural occurrences piled up, his fear grew. By 15, he couldn't take it anymore and chose to end it all, only for the ambulance to take a wrong turn to hell. He spent just 2 minutes in hell, yet it felt like a lifetime. So to avoid returning, he began exorcising demons to earn his way to heaven. One day, he sought out the Archangel Gabriel to see if he could get into heaven, but Gabriel said his motivations were just a scheme. In a fit of anger, John stormed out of the church, his face a picture of upset and drama. After chugging a bottle of his thirst-quenching syrup, his lung cancer flared up again, coughing violently on the roadside. When someone asked him for a lighter, he instinctively pulled out a match. John, caught off guard, found the demon gripping his throat. No amount of squirming helped. In desperation, he seized a nearby stick, swinging for the fences. That swing missed the mark. He dashed into the middle of the road, hoping for a miracle. The demon pursued relentlessly. As John prepared for trouble, he smirked. Demons aren't skilled drivers. With demons popping up everywhere, even a novice demon dared to mess with him. John figured something was definitely off and planned to seek help. The person he sought for help was the legendary Five-Night Daddy. With his impressive skills, he ran a bar frequented by half-blood angels and half-blood demons. Anyone stepping into his bar had to abide by Five Nights' neutrality rule. No fighting allowed. That made it a safe haven for John. Shared his recent woes, but Five Nights doubted. By divine Satan pact, demons in hell, angels in heaven, no human interference. Realizing Five Nights didn't believe him, John held his tongue and sulked home for a drink. Just then, a lady cop showed up at his door. She was looking for John because her sister mentioned his name before committing suicide. Being a Catholic, her sister was fated to descend, and thus she suspected her sister's death had secrets. Angela sought John's help, but John was too busy to care. He hurriedly shooed Angela away, but when she left, he saw ghostly shadows headed her way, causing him to panic and rush out the door after her. Suddenly, streetlights flickered out, leaving only a Virgin Mary statue glowing faintly beside the road. John quickly grabbed Angela and hurried to the statue, yet the glow emanating from it started dimming. Without thinking twice, John rushed to wrap cloth around his hand, igniting it with a lighter. As the demon faded, the street lights returned, and a light bulb went off in John's head. Angela's sister's death was indeed suspicious. To uncover the truth, John resolved to take a little trip to hell. He slipped his foot into a basin of water and put on his shoes, all set for the adventure. He grabbed a cat, staring intently into its eyes. Miraculously, water in the basin began bubbling, and the cat's pupils were shrinking. Moments later, John found himself in hell, surrounded by flames and ash. Holding a deceased's belongings, he quickly zeroed in on where to go. As he moved ahead, demons lurked around him, finally leading him to the goal. However, the demons were hot on his heels. John could only sprint toward her, but she jumped anyway, leaving him with just a wristband. In a moment of desperation, John smashed the decree. Barely returning to the living realm, John was smoking and writhing in pain. He handed the wristband to Angela, proving that her sister Isabel had indeed fallen into hell. Even with evidence in hand, Angela remained skeptical. At this point, John was too exhausted to argue any further. He decided to call a priest, asking him to use his psychic skills to investigate if anything went awry in Angel's life. Upon receiving John's request, the priest arrived at the morgue, scanning through hundreds of bodies. The priest found Annie, placing one hand on her chest and gripping her arm with the other, channeling his psychic power. To his surprise, the dark energy surrounding Annie was overwhelmingly powerful. The energy bounced back onto him. The priest quickly pulled out liquor, hoping to suppress the dark force with its potency, yet perplexingly, he found no liquor coming out. In panic, the priest bolted from the morgue toward the liquor cabinet outside. Reaching the cabinet, he flung it open, aiming to gulp down some booze, but nothing poured from the bottles. Not one to give up, the priest kept trying. He smashed a bottle, pouring it toward his mouth, but still, not a drop. Growing desperate, he decided to leave some clues for Constantine, stabbing himself in the palm with a corkscrew in a bid to retain some evidence.